here in Europe, wake up! Get some coffee. Here in Asia, sorry I woke you up. Oh yeah, we got stuff to talk about, don't we? Get ready. Bam! So, let's talk about Satan. Didn't think I'd be talking about this. Wait till we get to 1,000 users, and I'm going to ask you the most important question of the day. Good morning, Toronto. Spirit cooking with coffee. Cream in your coffee? No, I'm just spirit cooking. Hey, I might use that one. If somebody asks you if you want cream in your coffee, the correct answer today is, what do you think I'm? I'm not spirit cooking. I don't think anything could be funnier than spirit cooking. All right, let's sit down. Get your coffee over here. So, have you all followed the hashtag or the story about spirit cooking? For those of you who haven't followed it, I just was looking at it just a minute ago, so tell me if I got anything wrong here. But apparently, John Podesta's brother was inviting him to a spirit cooking event that was some kind of a satanic witch ritual or something that involves cooking with sperm, menstrual blood, and 2 other things. So I just got one question for you. After seeing the spirit cooking scandal, are we ever going to see a Clinton scandal that does not involve sperm? Just one. If you think about it, what is the one thing that all the Clinton scandals have in common? Sperm. There's sperm everywhere. Every one of their scandals has sperm involved. It's like Anthony Weiner, check. Monica Lewinsky, check. Spirit cooking, check. Who's really the daddy of Chelsea Clinton? Check. All their stories have sperm in them. Is that? What kind of weird coincidence is that? Yeah, Vince Foster too. Molesta, Podesta, good try. So I don't want to disappoint you all, but the WikiLeaks has some like weird connection to a human trafficker of children and pedophile and all that. I don't think it's going to make a difference because there's just so much stuff out here in this final week. And it's all a little hard to connect, and none of it is a direct hit. It's all, hey, look at all that smoke. There must be some fire around here. Yeah, the Haitian children, I was reading about that story this morning. But that's, again, it's the Clintons connected to somebody who did something bad. It's always her connected to someone who's connected to someone. Yeah, maybe Epstein's real, but the connection between Epstein and Clinton, I think, has not been demonstrated. The media doesn't care. Oh, you're welcome. I'm getting up early for you. That's how much I love you. Bottom line, the FBI is investigating. I think if you're a Trump supporter, you think that the FBI investigation is a really big deal. If you're a Clinton supporter, it just sounds like blah, blah, blah. So I gave a little talk last night to a group of college folk. I won't mention who they were because they might want to remain somewhat anonymous. And toward the end, one of them asked if I feel safe if we had a President Trump, given all the violence that Trump has inspired at Trump rallies. And I asked the person who asked the question, "Are you aware of the Project Veritas video that shows that the violence at Trump rallies was actually incited by paid Clinton operatives, and that as soon as they were outed, all the violence stopped?" I asked her if she was aware of that, and she kind of looked at me like, well, she wasn't aware of it. And I thought, that's a pretty big thing not to know going into the election. And it made me wonder if, that alone is the most important thing. If you're looking for the one point of leverage, there are a million things you could say about the other side. There are a million things you could claim about how wonderful you are. So you have lots of options of things you could say and do. But I'm wondering if the most productive one in the final week is making sure that Clinton people know about Project Veritas and about the bird dogging. Because as soon as I said that, she didn't have a word to say in response. I think it reset her frame. Because the thing is, if you think that the Trump rallies are a sign that Trump is dangerous and that he'll instigate violence, you almost can't have that view unless you haven't heard of the bird dogging and the fact that Clinton paid people to cause trouble at those rallies. So I think that knowledge might be the most productive thing to put out there the week before election, if you're trying to get Trump elected. The trouble with that Project Veritas video is that I think it only got circulated by Trump supporters to each other and played on Fox News and not much else. So I'm not sure that people know it's a thing. I think in the final week I wouldn't talk about much else. Because what I heard last night from other people is that the threat of Trump people being violent is actually scaring them. When in fact the reality has been closer to the opposite. There have been individual Trump supporters who do stuff, of course. But as a crowd, whenever it's a crowd, it's always Hillary supporters, isn't it? Let me put it in those terms. Why don't you fact check me on this? Do some fact checking on me and tell me if this is a true statement or not. Whenever there's violence that involves a crowd, I'm talking just about the election stuff. Whenever there's a crowd-related violence, Hillary's supporters, usually the ones she paid, are behind it. In those cases where there have been individual instances of what looks like violence, sometimes those are Trump supporters, just like there's individual violence, all the time for anything. But where there's a group, the dangerous kind of violence, if you're talking about danger to the country, if you're talking about civil unrest, whenever there's danger in a crowd, hasn't it always been Clinton supporters? Trump supporters breakup fight. Yeah, I mean, in a very real way, Trump supporters seem to be more about defending the country and defending themselves, and Clinton supporters are more offensive. I said that also to the students I was talking to last night, that, I'm neither a Republican nor Democrat, but as an observer, it's largely true that the Republicans use guns for self-defense and for sport, and Democrats use guns to shoot people. Maybe it's a generality, but it's a pretty good one, right? Snopes is useless. I think Snopes is a great resource, except for during the election. And that doesn't mean they've ever been wrong, because I'm not making that claim. I'm just saying that you shouldn't put credibility in them at an election, because they're humans, right? So the latest thing I tweeted was there's a new internet meme of Hillary standing there and saying, stronger when we stand together or something like that. Now, if you literally had trouble standing up, would you have any kind of a political ad that talked about standing? That seems like the very worst thing you could do. It's like, because she literally needs help standing. Yeah, we are stronger standing together if you're holding me up. And if I fall over, why don't you drag me to the car and throw me in there? The Stanford speech online? No, that was just a private event. Help you with your fear of rats? Well, you could go to a... No, I'm not going to say it. Podesta was literally invited to a satanic cult. Here's the problem with Podesta being invited to a satanic cult. Watch me demonstrate the problem right now. Hey, all of you, everybody watching this, I'd like to invite you to a satanic cult. Does that make you Satan worshippers? Well, some of you probably. But just the fact that you got invited somewhere, by your idiot brother, that doesn't mean you're necessarily a Satan worshiper. So I don't think that one's going to land, even though it's icky. What if NYPD makes an arrest? Arrest of who? $4 p.m. Podesta dump? Well, that could be interesting. I suppose it's possible there could be a big WikiLeaks dump between now and Election Day, but I'm thinking not. I think their good stuff's already out, and the reason I think that is because they would have released anything that was more damning already, I think. Did getting my MBA help with persuasion? Probably not. Julian Assange interview. Huh. For a hot dog party. What? I think at this point, it's like reading tea leaves. People are looking at all these WikiLeaks emails, and I think we're seeing more than what's in there. Spirit cooking. You want to hear about spirit cooking? Well, you should check the hashtag and you can read the story yourself. What's the $65,000 hot dog party? I missed that. Tell me about the hot dog party. Spirit cooking hot dogs with tea leaves. Does CNN sound worried? Oh my God, does CNN sound worried? Actually, they seem terribly worried. They seem stunned. It looks like they're in some kind of an aftershock already. It's like they've seen the future and it doesn't feel good. I'll have to look into that hot dog story. Somehow I missed that. I read the last dump about the weird stuff. And it's all a near miss, right? Food is code for child trafficking? I doubt it. Is there anybody who's a child molester who actually thinks that? Hot dogs are boys, pizzas are girls. Really? Go back to Chicago. Check Urban Dictionary. Yeah. There's a fairly convincing argument on Reddit. Well, here's the thing. You know the old rule that the more the more outrageous the rumor, the more evidence you need. So I think I'd need pretty high evidence to find out that our government is involved in, human trafficking of children. I need a pretty high standard to believe that. Reminds me of a Caligula story. What? A walnut is person of color. The sentences don't make sense otherwise. Fox News is down on DirecTV. That's interesting. Cervich article on Ben Sass. I think I'm going to go do that. I have to get back to work today. I don't have much to say today. So don't have any thoughts on Melania's speech. Was that yesterday? All right, I'll look into the pizza connection. Then I'll give you an opinion later, okay? But I'm going to sign off for now because I got to get back to work. All right.